Hey there, rulers, DMO73 here, bringing you the deck profile for the Isekai Bianchi list from Bianchi himself. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, the Ruler School Circuit Series now taking orders on our Q4 2024 circuit kits, and our guest lecturer members, Vite Ramen. Class is in session. So here is the list. Right away, I do want to say, as always, you can check the link in the description to go right to it over on Force of Wind and pull it into your deck lists to then tweak it around. And the basis for this list, I do need to give a shout out to Nibelungen over on our Discord server, a big help in giving me kind of the core concepts for this deck that I then put together into my take on it. A primary shift was a twist from being tails or villains to being tails, primarily because I really like Violet and Mariabella right now in this format, and also just some really helpful stuff with like Arthur Spacetime Knight to really play into making use of this Unity of the Machine Knights kind of package. So Isekai Bianchi, it's kind of a mid-range list. It can get aggressive very quickly, especially because of the opening line. It's very easy to get multi-strike and just kind of throw a ton of damage your opponent's way, especially when you consider things like Unity of the Machine Knights, as well as things like the mechanized Flame Blade Dragon, where this gives something plus 1,000 attack, which really turns out to 2,000 attack when you consider making use of multi-strike. So some pretty cool stuff here. It also has a ridiculously good draw engine because of the fact that you have the ability to have the weather permanently pollution, and then you get pollution amplifier, which just taps to draw you a card if the weather's pollution, and you get to start the game with this. And if you have multiple, you just keep your hand filled, which is kind of important because you're going to be making use of Smokescreen Bomb. So the whole idea here is that your opponent's stuff is going to be coming in with -1/-1 counters, so no matter how wide they get, Smokescreen Bomb can have answer that. And then you also have things like Skulk Sniper to be able to do damage to stuff that even has barrier, which is really great to make use of answering things like Ray Asnimals or whatever. So you have a lot of board control, so you can clear the way for Flip into Truck, into Skulk's Assault Troopers, into Swing multi-strike, which is a little bit crazy. One thing to note is that when you flip over Bianchi, your opponent's weather becomes pollution, not just yours. So you need a way to be able to make your weather pollution again so that you get the swiftness for your machines. It's just pretty important for this list, which is why usually you'll see pollution amplifier. And one thing to note is that if Machine, Werefox, J/Resonators have attacked and your weather is pollution. So to get this multi-strike on Biker's Gang, you need it. So a really helpful way is to use pollution amplifier to, after you do judgment, to make your weather pollution until end of the turn. So then everything can kind of swing in and go from crazy from there. So just a couple of trucks though, you don't need that many for pollution amplifiers. For Smokescreen Bombs, you're almost always going to do the modes of force them to banish everything with resonators and then make 2 protect things, which is very, very helpful. Skulk's Snipers, like we said before. Skulk's Assault Troopers, also a wonderful card for that, setting up that early aggression, and even just by itself does some pretty crazy stuff. For Violet and Mariabella, helps the will from this deck go even farther and serves as a nice little protective beater. For some draw power, you've got Arthur Spacetime Knights, which are just amazing, and then once you flip can help as well. And then random walks to deal with things like Mask or other particularly like things that have Eternal, things like Robometa to get them out of the way is helpful. Mechanization, primarily to convert things like a Spacetime Knight into a Violet and Mariabella that's more sturdy, or like an Assault Troopers that's about to die or after Assault Troopers has attacked into a second Assault Trooper, or into a Violet Mariabella that then gets bigger and can immediately swing. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do from there. 4 copies of Mirror for some control options. 3 copies of Unity the Machine Knights, just a very good card. 2 copies of Mechanized Blade Dragon. 3 copies of Mechanized Flame Soldier, because this is also a very nice way to be able to give Bianchi swiftness on the turn he comes into play, and then can get reanimated when you do something like doing the cheat-in effect of Mechanized Blade Dragon. And then lastly, I like a couple of copies of Velfina in the deck. You don't really have to play it, but she'll enter as a 9 9 to 1. So then you can just like use the pollution amplifier to add another -1/-1 counter to her, and then suddenly deal 800 damage to your opponent's board. It can be pretty helpful overall. It's just a nice way to do board clears too, and also can then be used to pump up Bianchi because he's a fire ruler. Fire J ruler. So neat stuff there. Stone base wise is 100% just red blue, and then we want the red blue sympathy stone here. So that's the list. Hope you guys like it. Hope you guys enjoy playing as the Sculk. We'll try to be back with a list for Kimie soon, probably after Worlds. Let us know how you guys have been playing Bianchi in the comment sections down below. And until next time, this is TMO73 saying class dismissed.